Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for staying with KTV2. We are back, and we are back to stay right here in the studio, the program you've been waiting for. To the point, this program sheds the light all the good things and sometimes the bad things to correct them in the state of Kuwait and abroad. Tonight, we are going to speak and concentrate on sport and the women. So stick around. Why? Because women's sports in Kuwait had seen developments on different levels. Some women were able to represent the country in various international tournaments like Rio 2016 Olympic. Despite these developments, women's sports need more attention and support from the government, allowing Kuwaiti women athletes to officially engage in sports events rather than rely on their personal efforts. The lack of women's sports club in the country plays a role in preventing the expansion of women's sports. And the society negative views on women's sports also took part in the slow development of women's sports. To talk more about this issue, stay with us. We have two wonderful ladies, and they are engaged in women's sport in the state of Kuwait right after this. Stay around.
I love watching sports. My dad coached my brother's team, and my brother's a few years older than me, and I always went to the rink with them, and then I just told my mom I didn't just want to watch them play, that I want to play myself.
I was the firstborn in my family, and we're a big football-based family. So my parents got me started in everything as soon as possible. You know, they always told me I could pick whatever sport I wanted to do as long as I was doing something at every season.
When the boys are on the rink, I get to go on the little rink. So I was the only girl that was out there. I practiced my slap shots because, God forbid, you didn't play with the boys back then. When my friend's dad was looking for young girls to play, he happened upon me.
Well, for me, sports started when I was just 4 years old. I had a father who was very into opportunities, not only for my two brothers, but for myself as well. So we started playing t-ball at a really young age. I remember being 4 or 5, and I just loved it, and I had that competitive side, and I think my dad recognized that, and he treated me exactly the same as he treated my brothers.
My favorite moment in my swimming career was my sophomore year of college, 2011 NCAAs. I went into it as the underdog in the 200 breaststroke, so underdog that I wasn't even considered the underdog, which is great. I had gotten 5th place my freshman year in the same event, and everyone except for one girl had graduated, so I figured my chances were pretty good. I think the only people that believed me were my coach, my team, and my parents. I dove in the water for the 200 breaststroke at finals, was in 8th place at the 100, so the halfway point. I was in 7th place with the 25 to go and ended up winning.
It helped that the team drafted UConn standout Maya Moore. She is becoming a regular here. I mean, this is like the 4th time she's shown up at the White House. She just somehow likes to attract hardware.
And I also went out to try out for the boys traveling basketball team because we didn't have a girls team. And I made the team with one other girl, which displaced 2 boys that were on the team the previous year because it's the boys' team. And I was called into the principal's office the next morning, called out of class, went to the principal's office. I thought I was going to be congratulated for making the team. And the principal told me that he thought that I should quit the team and join ballet or the Girl Scouts instead. That might be more appropriate for me. And I looked at him and I said, well, I'm already a Girl Scout and I don't want to be in ballet, I want to play basketball. And so that was my first lesson in gender equity and gender discrimination in sport at the age of 10.
The stories that fans and athletics enthusiasts love about football players or basketball players or hockey players, those same stories exist in our sport and in other women's sports. And I think if people had an opportunity to really follow those other sports and learn about what those athletes go through and the kind of accomplishments that they have and the trials that they...
We were on television nationwide in Canada. The media coverage in the paper was amazing, the Toronto Globe and Mail, like all sorts of Canadian newspapers picked us up. I mean, we were rock stars. And then we come home to Boston and no one even knows that we played. So, you know, it's an interesting dynamic, and I just think it really speaks to the culture of women's athletic coverage in the media and our sport.
In Finland, the coverage is pretty much non-existent, and our national team only gets coverage during the Olympic year, and then for 3 years there's pretty much nothing. With the golfers here, and springtime we get more coverage, fall not that much. Last year we actually made this joke that we were the best kept secret, not only in the Minnesota but the USA, and we started to get more and more coverage as our streak went on. Something like we were 30 and old, and a lot more media started following us.
I've actually seen a decline in media coverage for women's sports, and I think that's really interesting because there are a lot of resources being devoted to women's athletics. So I'm not really sure why, but I see that happening. I was a big pusher in women's ice hockey for media coverage because, you know, I have daughters, you know, I have sons that want to see women's hockey. I mean, my son, you know, would be like, "Mom, why aren't you on TV?" I don't know, you know, ask the powers that be.
In terms of my women's sport, I feel like we're very underrepresented. A lot of the previews come out for men's Division I NCAAs and men's Big Tens and men's SECs, but you don't see what their previews are for the women's meet as much, and that can be a little bit disappointing at times.
Welcome back. You're still with us here to The Point. As a reminder for those of you who just joined us, this is the first day of the season, the debut, and what a season to begin with BALSAM ALAYOUB. She's a champion, entrepreneur, and also sport leader. She's a well-known person in sport and looking forward for women to be more interactive in sports. Good evening, and thanks so much for being with us.
Good evening, and I hope that will be a fresh start for the new season of the program, and thank you so much for inviting me.
This is my home,
Our
pleasure to have you. For the record, in the state of Kuwait, the population of the state of Kuwait divides about not evenly. Women are more than men in the state of Kuwait. They represent around 57% of the population. And then they kind of not interacted in the sport like the men.
Yes.
For instance, like in the state of Kuwait, we have 16 men club sports for men, as opposed to 3 only for women.
And plus, the sports are less.
Less?
Yes, the sports number
is less.
So
there's a huge gap that we're talking about here.
Yes.
Who's to blame? Us or the government?
Well, if we want to talk about blaming, Ahmed, we have to explain and clarify something, that the government, through the constitution of Kuwait, had never discriminate men and women. They've always been, if you read the constitution, it's always written the citizen or the person, but there was no discrimination between.
That means people in general.
In general,
They're
no
not
gender.
Talking about the gender itself.
No. So if anyone wants to take a look for the article number 10 in the Kuwaiti constitution, it talks about youth, and the country is responsible about taking care of youth and developing them, involving them, and educating them, and etc. So we cannot blame the government which gives us the opportunity to have all our rights. The blame goes to the society. If you compare our situation with, let's say, the U.S. and the United States of America, they had been created a law to provide the chance for women to have the gender equality in sport in the 70s. Why in that time we had a team of women who went for the Arab Games to have a basketball game from Kuwait. And this is a history we cannot deny. In the 80s, the Asian Games, we had SHAIKHA ALMULHEM and جميلة المطوع ونادية المطوع in the horseback riding, and they get the 3 medals in the first places.
If we want to blame somebody, we need to blame the society, not the government, because the government allows and make opportunities for everybody to compete.
Even when we talk,
no matter men or men.
No, if we talk about the 16 club, Ahmed, we have to clarify something also, that the 16 club that we're talking about, they are social, sport, and cultural. So women are involved in it because they can vote and elect, and they are a part of this clubs, but they are not. They don't have the encouragement to go and participate as in the 70s. We had teams in Qadsiya Club, in Salmiya Club, in Al-Kuwaiti Club.
What about the public authority for sport? What's their role? Don't you think that they need to be the leader? They be in the leader to more women to be more active in sport?
How can they create much more chances than what they are giving you now? They're giving the clubs, which are the open clubs, the 16 club, which anyone can go and have an activity there. Plus, they made 3 clubs for women, which I think 2 of them or 3 of them are not functioning in the way that it should be function. And if we want to talk about who's taking the responsibility in leading this situation, the women club are not really supporting the image of women in sport. They're not doing it. And if you watch the most achievements that had been achieved in the last 10 years, it comes from the private clubs, which contain only one sport, like chess, skiing, horseback riding. No, it's for both genders. But women achievements come from those clubs on the international level.
Maybe because there's more finesse for women. That's why they succeed in these kind of sports.
No, because they are focusing, like shooting, like horseback riding, they are focusing on those women to have a better category of achievements on an international level. On the women clubs in Kuwait, the governmental one, they're focusing only on the regional competition, and most of them, they are not official. So till when those girls are going to compete on a GCC level and the Arab level, why they don't go over that?
Honestly, traditions and old habits and probably religiously is responsible for keeping the women in the shadows, not to be in front of the cameras, in front of the flashlights.
Ahmed, do you believe, I will ask you a question, okay? Do you believe that women today in Kuwait are under the shadows?
Nope. No, they're not.
Exactly.
They're more active than men. And they are more powerful than men, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know. So that's why we cannot say that women are under.
So where is the problem?
The problem is we don't have the idol, the role model.
No. We have you, BALSAM ALAYOUB.
And I'm doing my job. I'm trying to be a good role model.
You're an entrepreneur.
I'm trying with EMAN.
I believe you're qualified to lead them. But he needs some kind of support from somebody well-powered.
Well, I'm trying through my both initiatives, Champion Among Us and Be Strong in Kuwait Sport Club. And sometimes when people tell me there is no support from the government, I say, listen, I'm training and practicing and doing my projects in Kuwait Sport Club. It's a governmental club, so how come I can say I'm not supported by the government? Technically, I'm supporting, but if you're talking about the financial
support... You're not only supporting, you're backing up by the Constitution and the law and the government and the MPs of the municipality and also the MPs of the National Assembly.
And I don't really... I don't really... I'm so upset from the MPs on the National Assembly of Kuwait. Today, if you allow me, today one of the young national member of the Kuwaiti Parliament, he mentioned that he was so sad to go to Jabra Stadium, and so to see it so dark. It was so dark for him that they didn't open the light.
These are his remarks.
He said, and I wrote and Twitter to him, and I told him, well, the whole sport in Kuwait is dark because of the suspension. So if you bring the whole lights of the world and put it on this stadium, it won't be lighted if those champions are not able to participate. So what's the priority now? Is the light of the stadium,
no,
or the hope of those champions, which was vanish of...
We need a special edition to talk about the suspension of the sport in Kuwait. But now we want to concentrate about women.
Yes.
And the neglection that they are getting from the society. We're not
talking
about
the
government,
yes,
nor the constitution.
Yes.
They are supporting the women 100%.
Well,
so why the women's sport less popular than the men's sport?
Okay, let me explain for you something, if you allow me, Ahmed. We had always labeled in our society and different society around the world, we had labeled women who do sport in a certain image. For example, if a woman do karate, we label her as a boyish. If she does football, she's a boyish. If a man do ballet, he is girlish or feminine, for example. But we had never, the word sports had no gender. Sport is a sport. So why we should label people who does a sport regarding our perspectives? It is a physical activity, and whatever kids choose to for their passion and for their sport, we should support them. So why the labeling women in sport really affect the girl, the way of girls thinking how to choose their sport. And we can see a lot of girls in the private school do soccer, do football. But if you go to our society, like if they want to do football in a normal way, between their cousins, they will be really unsupported because...
That's correct. Okay, lack of attention, lack of interest from the society to the women themselves regarding sports. Do you think that made the women less interest towards being more athletic, more active in sports or not?
I think, what exactly you mean?
I mean, like, see, if I don't have a good attention, I'm not gonna be good at anything.
Okay.
Therefore, I'm going to drop out whatever I'm doing. That's why women, they are not being more preserved, more active.
Again, I'm going to this to the same point. You didn't create an idol and a role model in the society.
That's why.
Why all the girls want to be gymnastics in the 70s and in the 80s? Because they saw Nadia Komansky. Why they want to be the Moroccan girl, why they want to be athletics and a runner, because they saw Nawal Mutawakkil. She's the first Arab African woman who wins the gold medal in Olympics Los Angeles. She created history because of her image, because she was a role model for them. So Ghada Shu'a, for example, in heptathlon. So we have a role models and a very good role models in our world, but we don't invest in their image in our girls. So that's why in Champion Among Us, we focus on two things. If we're talking about...
That's a program that you are leading.
Yes, I founded it in 2015 in Kuwait Sport Club. It was documented by the Japanese TV and HK World, and now it trains the girls and the boys on 8 Olympic sports. The thing is, Ahmed, I thought when I thought about doing Champion Among Us in the beginning, it was a simple camp for the girls. Then I thought, if I did it for the girls, how would they be able to continue to be supported by men? Because those girls will be surrounded by men, by brothers, by sisters, fathers, uncles, a teacher, whoever it is. So I decided to do champion among us for both genders. Boys and girls come and learn on the same way. They cook together, they train together, they socialize together from age 5 to age 12. If you prepare this generation to understand that the girls are capable to do anything as much as the boys, when they grow up, they will understand that girls are strong and they have nothing to do within their strength. Physically, exactly. They are soft, yes, but they are strong. And softness, comparing with the strong, with the word strong, have nothing to do, and with the girl.
It seems to me you're doing a humongous job, honestly, to build a social bridge between the female and the society regarding sport.
Yes.
Did you get a very positive feedback from the society or not?
Well, yes, most of the kids that we train till now for 3 years, 150 kids, boys and girls, and the most number that registered are girls, and girls are really powerful and very effective with EMAN, ALKOOT, of course, my partner Shaikhah bin Hussein, and Kuwait Sporting Club is really supporting the image of sport women in the club.
One final question, because I believe that we need to cover this story in different episodes, honestly. One episode is not enough. Now, do you think that in overall, if you want to build something, you have to start from the foundation and up?
Yes.
You need to start from the school.
Yes.
You need to have more promotion stuff for the girls to interact in sport.
Yes.
You need to, for society to adapt and accept these kind of phenomena. Some people, they call it phenomena, but I don't.
Yes.
So do you agree about that or not?
Well, I agree, Ahmed, but also I want girls to come to the club also. I want to go to them to the school. We do have program for the schools, but we want them to join our club. We want them to step inside the sport club and don't feel that they have a huge wall between them and the girls. So Kuwait Sports Club, I'm so thankful for them for providing us with the place, with the facility, and supporting us. And it's, of course, a club which hosted women since the late 60s. So they believe in women, they believe in women empowerment. The thing I want to say, Ahmed, to explain for people, we only don't want, my focus, I'm a sport teacher. I didn't practice teaching, but I graduated from physical education college. And the thing is, my role is to teach those kids how to use sport as a tool for their empowerment in their lives. The club's role is to train them and to create from them champion. I create from them champion as a personality, but with their physical talents, things that will really build them as a champion. This is something have to be transferred to another team. We are trying to do our building our team with EMAN, ALKOOT, and different trainers that we're
Which, by the way,
with.
she's going to be
yes,
our
I'm
next
so
guest.
honored. Of course, I'm so honored to be to have her also in this program with me. But we are trying so hard to create them. So the second thing that I want to mention also that we
in
have
5 seconds.
Yeah, okay, we have to give the girls the empowerment within their family.
That's right.
Yeah, we cannot tell the girl, for example, if a boy and a girl, brother and sister, wants to go out, we ask the boy to take care of his sister, but we never ask the girl to take care of her brother. So we have
to take care of her brother by heart.
Exactly.
That's more than that.
But we want her to be a little bit.
BALSAM ALAYOUB.
Thank you so much.
Honestly, pleasure always, an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Promise us to come back again.
Inshallah, I will always be there, and I will really support this from the bottom of my heart. Always, I will never give up on those girls which I'm training, and I promise them. I will be always with them.
We'd like to welcome and thank also BALSAM ALAYOUB. She is a champion, entrepreneur, and sport leader.
Thank you so much.
A recent study found that major television network in the U.S. devoted just 1.6% of airtime to women's sport and across TV and point media. Female athletes make up at most 8% of overall sports coverage. In Kuwait and the Arab world, women's sport coverage gets less than airtime. We interviewed Dr. SHAIKHA ALGHAITH from the Department of Mass Communication, Kuwait University, to elaborate more about the media coverage and women's sport in the state of Kuwait. And stick around.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on your show. Honestly, it is very limited. I don't think they have enough media coverage of women in sports in Kuwait. It is not fairly presented in our local or even traditional types of media. I think there has to be a lot of things to be done to actually present Kuwaiti women in sports and present them and show and highlight their achievements, them as examples of women who are achieving so much in their life, and as good women examples for their peers or their women in their age or even in different types of sports. I think Kuwaiti women in sports can actually use social media in their advantage by creating their own accounts, maybe presenting their achievements, putting them on their accounts, and having their followers or friends who are following them on their accounts can actually get exposed to what they've achieved, so that would spread the word. In terms of popularity, it probably would be the best way to get more popular nowadays, because social media is the new age of media compared to traditional types of mass communication or media. So it's just, I think they can use it themselves, but also when it comes to traditional types, when we talk about media coverage of them in television or radio, I think they should also highlight their achievements, their journeys as women, and present them in a way which is how the unique things that they've already achieved for the country and themselves, and as women as well, because you know how it is in our society. They do tend to look at women in different fields with the special glasses, I would say, that actually can limit their perceptions, like other people's perceptions of their achievements. So I think they could be the ones to mass communicate their own achievements by using social media, and also try to probably get to communicate with media who can present them in a more positive way. I think the role that local media should play is presenting them in a different angle. Probably show their what's unique about them, their achievements. I think it's a key thing that they should highlight. They should show. I think the issue here in our society that sports as a domain, it's a male-dominated domain, as many other fields and domains. So having a limited number of women achieving so much in it should be actually a very encouraging thing for other women as well. But highlighting it and showing it in a positive way is what is actually needed, and what the media, the local media should do, so that the perception of people in our society could change if they're seeing really amazing examples of women in our society, and they're participating sports, they're loving what they're doing, their journeys, like highlighting all of that would actually help getting a better perception of women in sports in Kuwait.
Welcome back to the second part of this edition of the debut, also the season opening for the To The Point program. We were talking about, and we are still talking about, women in sport. And tonight, our second guest, she is going to be tough and rough to everybody who does not listen to her. She is Coach EMAN ALKOOT, and she is not only a coach, she is an international referee and coach in the game of taekwondo.
Right.
Lord have mercy.
Inshallah.
How are you this evening?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for you.
Moments away, we were talking to Mrs. BALSAM ALAYOUB, and we were talking about women in sports and the lack of interest from the society to them. The government are providing everything. The Constitution is protecting the women for practicing and do whatever they want in sports. Why the society is not accepting the women in sports?
Well, first, good evening to all our viewers. I want to say it's a matter between government and society both. You cannot walk or do any work, especially in sport or any other fields, with one wing. Especially in sports, you need the push and the power from your government first, and the most important thing. And then the society, by steps, they can be included and can be aware of the importance of the sport. Government is doing a good job. We cannot deny that, since we were player and referees, and but still we need to find. If you let me to be more frank with you and with the viewers.
That's why we're here. The point is the honest program.
Exactly. So if we want to go to the same right point, we need the right people to lead or to go through the sport operation. Leading and being in a we mean a right person.
From her own gender, like for women, a leader from women
and men also, because as our society is with men more they are controlling in the sports or any other fields. So we need the right person in the right position to take the ideas or to take the right opinions to go forward and do the right things. We are trying as young generation or second generation in sports to do that instead of maybe lack of support or lack of time or lack of the halls. We need to do the training in it, but we are trying to do our best. As my friends before said, BALSAM ALAYOUB, she's doing a very good job.
She's doing a tremendous job.
Exactly, in the society.
But in Kuwait and abroad, it's not a matter of Kuwait, it's everywhere. Also in the United States, they're not taking the best opportunity like the men.
Yeah.
So therefore, we need to know and acknowledge the challenges that they are in front of you, just like obstacles. What exactly you need to do to overcome these obstacles?
Yeah, but see, Ahmed, in every society they have their own, problems or their own things to do or work out to do it. But we don't want to make us in comparison with other countries, So let's see the nearest countries, our Arab world or our Gulf world. We have to do more, because even in comparison with Arab worlds, the girls they're more developed in sports and they're doing very fine, and the governments there are really encouraging them more. We need this thing to be in Gulf also. We need to see more girls in the sport, more participation in not only Arabic or Gulf competitions or championships, only in Asia world, and then to the Olympics and worldwide. So this is what we are working in it, and we are trying always to do our best in this field, to go more than Arab and Gulf worlds.
Since the director has put some kind of pictures on the air representing you, and you are a coach in taekwondo, this is a martial art.
It is.
This is a very violent sport. For a woman to practice a violent sport, this proves to you that she is as good as the men, correct?
Yes, right. But I want to go to the point. Most of the people think that martial arts are tough and maybe dangerous sport. But I think there are more sports that are dangerous and
we know that.
like football and basketball.
And
so
boxing and everything.
Yeah, and martial arts. It's still.
But taekwondo. It's just like
it's
a
very
karate.
Nice.
Karate, isn't it?
It is. We use a special each game of martial arts.
It might lead to serious injuries.
Not that much.
You sure?
Yeah, I
Okay.
swear. It's
When
not
did
much
you
as
start?
the
Let's talk
sports.
about you a little before we go to our. We have a phone call from Fatma Hayat.
Okay.
She's a member from the university, but I need to talk about you a little. Do you want to? Let's talk her first.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Doctor, please connect us with Fatma Hayat. She's a member of Women Football Committee and former board of member, Kuwait Olympic Committee and sport activist. Good evening, Mrs. Hayat.
Good evening, Ahmed.
How are you this evening?
Good, thank you, and good evening to my fellow colleague, Dr. Iman.
Iman ALKOOT.
I'm not listening.
She cannot hear you. She's not wearing the earpiece.
Yeah.
But anyway, I will translate
Yes.
and also connect you with her
Okay.
telepathically. Anyway, Dr. Hayat, what do you think about our the subject of this evening? Do you think that we are having a problem in the state of Kuwait? I'm not talking about the government support, nor we're talking about the constitution. We're talking about the society. The society yet to accept a woman as a sport and athlete. What do you think about that?
In my opinion, I think the society or our culture has been opening up to women competing in competitive sports. Mostly, there's a lot of support from society and culture for recreational sports, but in the recent years, we've seen the society open up and accept and support women's sports, mostly in individual sports.
Okay. Now, you said something really interesting, and also your colleague, you have mentioned that Coach Iman, she's right next to me. And also she said that the society is to blame because they are not accepting the idea of women competing against men. So we need to start to build a foundation from the society, which means that we're talking about from school and up. What do you think about this? Do you think it might work?
I mean, I think sports in general isn't taken as a serious career or serious step, whether it's for girls or boys. I think there needs to be more awareness about competitive sports and supporting our youth to professional sports. So I think it is more towards girls and women, but I think it's a societal issue in general.
Okay. It's wonderful to talk to you. Honestly, that was a good intervention from you. We'd like to thank Fatma Hayat, a member of Women's Sport Soccer Committee and former board member of Kuwait Olympic Committee, sport activist. What's going on? I have 3 women talking about women in the state of Kuwait. They are not getting their opportunity to participate and compete. And yet we have a taekwondo woman right here.
Yeah.
What do you think? We need to use force against them or what?
No, it's not a matter of force. It's a matter sometimes of the rules,
Rules.
and some special rules.
Well, everything
we have.
is right in front of you. The Constitution
yes.
is supporting you.
Yeah.
The government said, I don't have any problem for you to participate.
Yes.
Okay.
But I told you from the beginning, like it's a responsibility half of the government and half of the society. So it's still there's something missing in between.
Such
we
as?
need, such as the, going together and understanding each other, like doing more togethers in the fields, trying to reach to the sport to the best way or best competitions, especially with the girls. Especially we have like girls, they can do more, like winning or succeeding in the competitions, especially also in the individual sports, So
since you said something about individual, we
Yeah.
talked more about the women's sport in general. Let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit about you.
yeah.
You're a coach of taekwondo. I cannot observe that, honestly.
Why that?
Let me, please. Okay, now.
We have many other girls, by the
Really?
way. Yeah, I have
In
my
taekwondo?
yes, in taekwondo, I have my friend Hanan Nasser. Also, she's a coach.
Also a
she's,
coach?
Yeah, she's a strong coach.
You need to coach me.
And we have, yeah, of course, you're
Anyway,
welcome.
now, when did you start loving the sport of taekwondo? It's not a sport. It's a fighting. It's a martial arts.
Yeah, it
Taekwondo. When did it start?
It started by coincidence, because
Coincidence?
yes.
When?
Because I was in the sport
You
fields
were
when I.
in what grade?
That's
In
started.
school?
No, that's when I was nearly in the college in the Al Fatat club. They start actually see the idea That's what I'm telling you, the awareness of the society. Before, let's remember, before the invasion, there were no concern about martial arts games or sports for the girls. They were just doing normal sports, like playing, enjoying their time, okay? Then after the invasion, people more concerned about martial arts, like getting the girls ready to fight, how to, you know, to keep themselves
and you were involved and you coached every
then
girl
when they
in the
decided,
state?
when they decided to do this, you know, this game, as a, you know, a sport girl in the field and want to discover more about sports, I entered that field and I really, alhamdulillah, I joined it.
We all know that the women that are more active in different sports, in specific sports such as ice skating, tennis, horse riding, something like that. It requires a finesse for the women, and they are good at it. We're not denying that. What made you love taekwondo?
You're not believing I'm doing taekwondo. Next time I have to come with my suits and my dobak.
What made you feel in love with taekwondo?
Sometimes, you know, like you feel, you try yourself in the field and you see like, shall I do good, or is I'm going to do good in this sport? And you go by step and you see yourself like, okay, I'm doing fine. Why don't I continue? As that what happens with me, I get to the black belt.
Did you get to practice on your brother? Did you beat him to death?
This is the first thing I did with my brothers.
I
was telling them, come and fight with me, so I can know my, you know, level. In the beginning, no, but afterwards, I cannot beat my brothers, you know. But it's like they were judging me like you're tough and you're strong, you can't do it.
How did the society perceive you, honestly? How did the society look at you?
Yes, they welcomed me, especially when I start getting my medals and I became to the field, and people like, you know, becoming understanding that a woman wearing especially hijab and doing nice martial arts game, they really encourage their girls, also their daughters, to come and join the game. So until now, we have a good amount of people, girls, I mean, especially playing taekwondo. And they are doing fine, and they're going to some, you know, tournaments here or there. But it's not any more weird or, you know, awkward game.
I cannot, honestly, cannot
You have to visit us in the club one day.
I would love to do that.
Sure, you're most welcome.
Now, in order for you to coach the girls how to defend themselves, this is a good step, honestly. This is not only a sport, this is also to protect yourself from muggers and probably, you know, haters in the streets.
Confidence. Raising the you know, the quality of confidence in yourself as a girl, as you're gonna face many things in the future, from like studying abroad, you know, doing the work, going late night, you know, and Kuwait women, they get driving, and alhamdulillah we have this long time. So in any case, she's ready, she has this you know, confidence, she has this self you know, rest, and self-esteem, and she can do fine with beside the game, you know, or any kind of sports. It gives a good feel for the girls.
What about your family? I believe that your family supported you.
Of course.
Didn't they?
My father.
Your father?
Yeah.
This, see,
he's the right person.
This is where it all starts. Either the father or the mother. Will support you and will lead you.
Exactly. And that what happens, of course, as other girls, maybe they are watching or listening, some brothers come in the middle and they try to stop you, or mother or father, but there is one of the members of the family.
It would be crazy to stop you, honestly. You play taekwondo.
You know, because it's the new.
I would say, God bless you, and keep the good work.
That happens afterwards. They were encouraging me a lot. So you find somebody of the members in the family, they push you forwards and they go with you. So my father was doing this step and
Who
carrying me
denied
outside.
you the opportunity to become a taekwondo lover?
A taekwondo lover?
Don't mention any names, but somebody.
No, I have to. This is our, we call him godfather in our sports, Dr. Walid Sarab.
What about him?
He's the person who took with our hands, you know, especially girls, and took us step by step to go through the game and get to learn.
He helped you?
Yeah, of course.
I'm talking about the people who worked against you.
Against us? Okay. Against us? Nobody.
Nobody?
No.
Everybody was encouraging you?
They were encouraging, yes, exactly. They were encouraging us.
You know why, don't you? They're afraid to come back and beat them to death.
Yeah, maybe.
After you become a champion.
Maybe, but no.
Okay, one final thought. Honestly, we have come to the end of this wonderful interview.
Thank
honestly,
I
would love to have you once again.
Thanks a lot.
Final thoughts, anything?
Final thoughts, I really want to send a message to the all girls playing sport. Please don't be desperate. Do your best. Challenge. Go into sports more. Don't give up. One day you're going to be an idol and model, a role for other girls. Just do sport in any circumstances, please. Yeah.
You better believe it. They are going to follow you wherever you go.
Inshallah.
It's an honor to have
Thank
you,
you very much.
honestly, and
Thanks
keep
to
up the
you.
good work.
Inshallah.
And I hope one of these days I will bring my girls for you to coach them.
You're most welcome. You too.
No, me too.
You have to
no.
play.
I'm too old for that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'd like to thank, honestly, Coach EMAN ALKOOT, international referee, coach in the game of Taekwondo. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our first episode for your favorite program, To The Point. Make sure to join us once again next week, Wednesday at 8:15 to be precise. Until then, take care of yourself and each other, and bye-bye.